Also, I think the second thing which I wish I knew is that actually that point of neglecting other courses. So there are so many courses that we actually were taking lightly, man. So now they're coming all in one. So like your critical thinking, your economics, as I mentioned, your history, your math. So those modules actually are as important as all other modules that we're doing. So because now I need to apply them in every project that I'm doing. So it's more like all in one. I need to think. I need to cost those projects. I need to maybe size those projects. So yeah, I mean, so I think those are the things that I wish I knew.
Okay. So today I'm joined by Velly, a homie from Raskukuna there. Shout out. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So we're going to be talking about everything to do with being in the engineering sector, in the refinery to be quite exact. So Veli is an engineer in training, a candidate engineer at FFS Refiners. He has a BSc in engineering in chemical engineering. So I'm speaking to a chemical engineer or a chemical engineering candidate. Is that it?
Just say process engineering training. So there are so many synonyms to this title, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you also have a
Yeah.
BSc in chemistry and applied chemistry. Is that so?
Yeah, man. So yeah,
So you started
right.
so you started with BSc in chemistry and applied chemistry, and then after that you went into do chemical engineering. Take us through that journey.
Okay, so actually it's a 5-year fixed curriculum. So it's called chemistry chemical engineering. So in your first year, it's more like you do chemistry. So what you're doing actually, it's more on chemistry. Then second year, you start to mix the two. So it's like now you're doing both first year chemical engineering and second year chemistry. Then in your third year of studies, it's your final year of chemistry, which is your third year. Then you also do your second year of chemical engineering. Then after third year, you graduated chemistry. Then you actually switch. So in our time, actually we applied to chemical engineering so that you can proceed. Then yeah, you graduate this chemistry. Then after that, you proceed with your chemical engineering. So for the next 2 years. Then yeah, I think then after that 2 years you graduate with chemical engineering. So then the whole curriculum is called chemistry chemical engineering.
So, but what's the
Like
I see. So, what's the whole point of doing chemistry first? Why don't we just go into chemical engineering? Why?
yeah, man. So that's this question. We still need answers to this question because most of my classmates were actually because we applied for chemical engineering. Then suddenly they take us into chemistry of chemical engineering because we didn't really apply straight for chemistry of chemical engineering. They just took us. Not sure what they were looking for, but yeah. But at the end of the day, actually, it was much helpful because actually the chemistry part it gives you some background or maybe a basis of what chemical engineering is all about. So for you to transition into chemical engineering, it was much easier. Yeah.
So I see. So you are a candidate engineer at FFS Refiners. What do you do there?
I speak with equipment, man. So imagine things that don't talk. So so unlike a baby, when the baby is crying, you know there's something wrong. So that thing, yeah. So yeah, but what I'm doing actually it's more like optimization. So the umbrella weight is called optimization or engineering optimization. So okay, maybe I should just take you through my day.
Sure.
So in the morning, I install what happened yesterday. Then after that part, I go on the site or on the plant. Then I inspect the equipment. If the equipment is still okay, then from there I go to the log sheet. So every equipment or maybe a process unit has its own log sheet. So whereby you record maybe like the parameters like temperatures, pressures, and maybe flows. So I check if that equipment was operating based on those on its specifications. So then if maybe there was a deviation from what I should expect or from what I expect, I have to now start to investigate to check what's the cause of the deviation, what's the solution. So yeah, then actually that's how I do the monitoring of the equipment. And also if I have projects, then during the day I focus more on the projects. So like designing or sizing of the equipment. So yeah, then some of the things is just like occasionally. So maybe like having like meetings with my mentor. Yeah, want and on also attending trainings. So yeah, I think that's my day, man. Then
And
yeah,
your company, what does it do? Like FFS refiners, what is that? What is refining? What do you refine?
so we actually refining oil. So we're refining oil, then they use it to in boilers. So we actually suppose it ISCOM, yeah. So ISCOM I think use it for to run their boilers. So yeah, actually it's refined. We're refining oil. So let's say maybe the oil has maybe high water content. So we use like distillation columns to refine it by evaporating the water. Then we
Ooh,
sell it. Yeah.
evaporation.
So
When was the last time I had that word?
yeah. So yeah, actually that's what we do, man, in the nutshell.
So, like, okay, maybe before I get to that question, like, how did you find the industry, man? When you got into the industry, engineering from varsity and everything, how was that for you?
The industry, it was exciting, man. It was exciting, and then at the same time, it was a bit anxious because yeah, you get to meet people, like about new people, and also like it's more like an intimidation sort of because you're just there, first day there, like to get people with 10 years, 20 years experience, then everyone just tell you different stories, yeah, one. So some will come and guide you, then obviously some will come maybe try to challenge you, but most of the time, so it's exciting. Overall, yeah, it's exciting.
So, for someone who's going to join the industry, man, I mean, from what you know now, what can you say to them?
Mm.
Like, how should they maneuver, type of things like that?
Okay, so I would say to the person they should try as much as they can to take every module serious. I want. So, because for us, like we did things like history, economics,
Yeah.
okay, maths, it's obvious that I need to do it, but imagine, man, economics. So I was like, what's the point of this? So, but now I'm starting to realize that actually it was actually meant to be done, that one, because most of my projects I involve like economics. So yeah, I have to cost those projects. I have to speak to maybe contractors to come and do the to install. So there's money going on there. Then yeah, man, things like history. So I think they try to stretch your thinking. So to think outside engineering. So
Oh,
yeah, so I think those modules, as much as we might neglect them or maybe ignore them, so they're important as much as the other big modules like design and yeah. So yeah, to someone who's gonna come in the industry, so I'll say try as much as you can to learn those modules, then and also just to add, okay, but I think I'll just touch on it as we proceed.
So it's very much important. We shouldn't take the things for granted that we are doing here at varsity, because there was a student who was asking me, why am I doing history and I'm doing engineering? Where am I going to use that,
Great. So, yeah, I mean, because at the moment I'm using like your calculus, Simpson's rules, Fourier series. So those things, man, are important, man. Now I was actually shocked. I was like, that one. So, yeah, I think we mustn't take those things lightly.
And what's the difference between applying those things in industry and when you're still learning them? Like, what do you see now? Maybe when you apply them, you start to see something to be like, stuff like that.
I think you've already answered my question, because every time I apply those things, I'm like, wow. So yeah, it's actually exciting, man, because you get to see what those equations are doing in real life. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
So the value of those equations. So unlike just proving those equations, then you get the answer, then you say, yes, I got it. So now you get to see the impact they're making. So in real life, yeah, well, so yeah, I mean, so I think that's the main difference between us doing those proofs or maybe that one, then also applying them in the industry.
One of the examples that you gave was that when you were still a student, you thought you understood Excel very much. And you go to industry and you're like, no, I don't understand this thing as the way I thought I did.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So, yeah, like as a man, Excel, like in varsity, on my CV, if you can check my old CVs and stuff, I was like 80%. Like, I can like when you create your CV there, like you have to put like maybe like something like maybe how best do you know Excel? So myself was like 80, sometimes I'm like 90. So only to find that no, man, you're still at around 20. I want 20%.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I was like, no, man. So Excel, there's a lot actually in Excel. There's a lot, man. There's a lot in Excel. So yeah.
So let's talk about the disciplines that one can go to. I mean, you have done chemical engineering, you are in a refinery, take us through the other disciplines that maybe someone like you can go into. I mean, I see now a lot of engineers also going into data sciences, going into banking and stuff. Quite interesting, huh?
Yeah, it's very interesting, man. So some of us were also tempted, but anyways, it is what it is. Okay, so there are various disciplines that engineers can actually go into. So as soon as they graduate. So the first one is mining. We have consulting. We also have manufacturing as well, which is food maybe, and also drinks. Data science and banking as well. So which are more, I think they're related, banking, data science, and software. So yeah, I think those are the common disciplines that engineers go into. Yeah. So yeah.
And which one are the sort of the best? I mean, you were telling me that, especially refinery because of green energy and stuff. So it might be an industry that seems to be diving down over the years. But if someone asks you, like, so which are the best industries I must go into? I'm a chemical engineer, or I've done chemical engineering. Which one can you say?
Okay, I would say I think consulting actually it's at this stage it might be it's actually on top because it's quite broad. So you get to consult for different companies. So yeah, I think consulting it's on top for me. Then okay, mining as well. So mining, I think it's also on the list. Then yeah, then data science and banking. So I don't have much of an experience on those disciplines, but I see most of the engineers they also opt into going into data science and mining. So and apparently there's a lot of money that side. So yeah, so I just don't know the future and also the development that they get. So to my experience, I just know that actually I think on the data science and baking, they are more on your thinking. So as an engineer, so they take you because of the thinking that you've maybe acquired or yeah.
So that's why you guys do critical thinking. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so I think that's what they take most of the engineers in those disciplines.
so are you saying that the traditional engineer, like mining and stuff, are you saying they don't pay as much as data science and banking? Are you saying that?
Okay, mining apparently it's also paying.
Yeah.
Mining there's a lot of money, but I think refinery and maybe manufacturing, I think maybe they might be on bottom on the list. So yeah, so mining apparently it's paying, and also consulting, I think it's paying.
And let's talk about the skills that I mean, you're in refinery, you're an engineer there. What are the skills that you use daily that you think people, especially engineering students, when they get into the industry, they need to actually embody those type of skills?
So okay, traditionally apparent engineers are introverts. So you need some. Actually, it's more like now the first skill that you need to have is to deal with people. So and for me to learn that, I think the first month that I got into this company, they took me to uh, a training or a course which is called Dale Carnegie Seminar. So it actually reminded me of our time when you used to read that book, man.
Sure.
How to win friends and influence people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still appreciate it. So yeah, they took me to that training. So I got to learn how to deal with people, and also communication is one of the skills. And also you need to be analytical. So and also yeah, creative thinking as well, because most of the time actually you especially when there are breakdowns, so you need to act swiftly or maybe as soon as you can to solve the problem. So you need to be critical in terms of your thinking, and also okay to deal with people well, because you need to work with different discipline within your or maybe departments. So which it comes back to communication. So I think those are the skills that one needs. So yeah, so being an introvert, it should actually end. So yeah, I had to as well.
Yeah, I remember you were quite a huge introvert, man. Like just, so how did you actually bust out,
And actually, as I mentioned, I appreciate that book, man. So it helped me a lot. So yeah, it helped me a lot, man. So because actually they even gave us some small books, so it gives you some lines of Dale Carnegie. I think they're saying leaders don't criticize, or you must always smile, so you don't complain, those things. So eventually, I think as time goes, you get to become comfortable, and also you build your confidence. So yeah, I mean, I would say that book helped me a lot.
So that's why you smile a lot these days, huh?
Yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, Ben.
So the book that he's talking about is the book by Dale Carnegie. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Aye, man, that book is just amazing, especially on leadership and also human management. It's just proper, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I have some questions here from one of my subscribers, Kariso Solotole. And the question that she says I must ask you is, what is it that you wish you knew before getting into the industry?
Okay, so I think it's more related to what we've just discussed. So one thing that I wish I knew, I thought maybe I'm just gonna come to work, sit down, and just to be focused on my laptop, so without maybe communicating with anyone. So can be actually different story. So you need to work with people. So you are not actually isolated. You cannot be isolated. So you need to work with people, and that there are challenges which come with working with people. So yeah, I think one thing that I wish I knew, it's actual to work with people from day to day. Yeah. So yeah.
And you know, there's this misconception that engineering doesn't work because in engineering, you work mostly with equipment and stuff. And I'm sure a lot
Mm,
of people just think that, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to be, I don't have to know what someone is doing. But now you are saying that actually that's not really the case.
exactly.
Wow.
So you need actually every now and then you're working with people. So yeah, and also I think the second thing which I wish I knew is that actually that point of neglecting other courses. So there are so many courses that we actually were taking lightly, man. So now they're coming all in one. Yeah, so like your critical thinking, your economics, as I mentioned, your history, your math. So those modules actually are as important as all other modules that we're doing. So because now I need to apply them in every project that I'm doing. So it's more like all in one. I need to think. I need to cost those projects. I need to maybe size those projects. Yeah, one. So yeah, I mean, so I think those are the things that I wish I knew. So yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting because sometimes, and I always say this to students that don't try to cram because students have this thing of like, I'm just gonna cram it, pass, and forget. But now you're saying
They
that actually, so they will struggle when they get into the job in the job market then.
absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, it gets difficult, man. So because now at some point I had to maybe refer back to my economics notes, man. Imagine because actually economics me now, I was like, why am I doing this? So yeah, but now I'm starting to realize that time this that it was actually very important course. One.
Wow. The other
Yeah.
question by Kariso says, do you have any regrets on the choice of company? Like the company that you're working for, do you have any regrets that you've chosen this company? FFS refinery? Refiners, sorry.
Mm, okay, at this stage, man, I don't have any regrets. So I haven't seen any red flags yet. So yeah, any. So yeah, actually, I don't have any regrets because okay, I get the development that I expected. So actually, I deal with everything. So every equipment. So sometimes when I discuss with my friends who are working in some companies, so they tell me that they are restricted to maybe a certain equipment or maybe a certain task. So which means every now and then they need to focus on that equipment or task. So myself, I'm actually it's more like it's broad because I'm the only EIT where I'm working at the moment. So I need to focus on all the equipment, so on a daily basis. So it gives me that opportunity to learn more or to know more about each equipment. So yeah, I don't regret anything at the moment.
Okay, so another question from Kagiso Solotole says, why is it so many engineers get registered with EXA, but mostly they remain as candidates for long? What could be the possible reasons behind the delays? Why can't they prioritize being registered as professionals since there are a lot of benefits?
Okay, so for you actually to register with EXA, so okay, well, you become a candidate engineer, then eventually after 3 years you become a professional engineer. So one of the reasons that people just give up on the way, so it's maybe okay, I would say it's lack of mentorship. So the moment you register with EXA, then as you become a candidate engineer, then they assign you from your company, they assign you a mentorship. So someone who will mentor you through the journey. So if you lack that part, eventually you might not see, because you need to submit maybe like you submit 6 monthly reports to EXA through your mentor. So if you don't have a mentor, you end up like not seeing a purpose, or maybe a value in being a candidate engineer or a professional engineer. So that's one thing. Then the second thing, it's could be like finance, because there are annual fees that you need to pay the moment you become a candidate engineer. So finance as well, it might play a role. Then the third one, it could be that maybe you branched in maybe another, I would say, role, because as engineer, so I think you have three choices as you go along your career. So it's either you go into management or process engineer, or maybe you get to be into research and development. So those are the three routes that you choose as you go along. So most of the time, if you go into management, the need for you to become a professional engineer, it actually become less. So I think most of the people that maybe just end up being just registered as a candidate engineer, not attaining their professional engineer. So they probably went into management. So in management, you don't really need to become a professional engineer, because the EXA is more the technical stuff, which is more into process engineer and research and development. So yeah, I think actually those could be the reasons that people end up not achieving their professional engineer.
So it's not a prerequisite to register with EXA to be recognized as a professional engineer. Is it a requirement or not really?
So actually, it's not a requirement. Actually, so it's your choice too, because EXA grades are recognized by most of the companies. So it's more like it gives you that sort of an edge or that uniqueness, because the moment you're registered with EXA, so EXA, you need to get their protocols or maybe rules on how engineering is done, or ethics as well. So
yeah,
it's more like you're binding yourself. So you're now a professional, sort of. So actually, it's your choice. So it's your choice when you get to the industry.
But does being a registered engineer, whether candidate or professional, does it come with some sort of benefits that perhaps if you're not, you forfeit those benefits?
Yeah, so as I am saying, so some companies they actually want that. So they say before they hire you, they say you must be registered with EXA, or you must have a PRN, which is the professional engineering one. So yeah, some of the companies they look for that person who's a professional or maybe a candidate with EXA. Then maybe one of the reasons that people maybe end up not attaining their professional engineering is because they maybe switch companies. Let's say maybe myself currently I'm in this company, then I go to another company. So I found that side they don't actually care about me being a candidate engineer. They don't even assign me a mentor. So eventually I'll adopt that culture. Then I just give up on my candidate registration.
So the other question that Kariso is asking, Kariso sent in a lot of questions. I think she's doing chemical engineering, so she wants to know what's going on. Yeah. So her other question is, in terms of growth in your profession, which companies should one go for?
Okay, so the actual maybe two aspects that we need to look into. So in terms of growth, okay, if it's maybe a company specific, then okay, I'll say the company I'm working for, because actually I'm getting the experience I'm getting, man. It's actually it's amazing, man. It's amazing. So okay, I would say if one wish, or maybe if he or she sees an opportunity in this company, they can actually opt to go into. But there are different companies as well, like Sasol, also in mining. So yeah, ISCOM as well. I think it takes graduates. So yeah, there are various companies, but also the second aspect, it's on the future of the company. So as I mentioned earlier, that refineries are actually going down lately. So they're going down because of the strategy that they need to implement of greener energy. So
yeah,
that strategy, I think it's actually killing most of the refinery companies now. So that's why I would say, in terms of future, it might be a disadvantage for someone to go into refinery. So yeah, I think that's the problem we're having currently in the refinery.
So I've seen that you did some of your vacation work at Glencore Alloys, and you also did another vac work at, I think, is Sweet Treat. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but how important are this vac works in terms of also your growth and your development as a student?
Okay, so I would say they are very important, man. So that's why actually I would always say engineering students, they shouldn't be comfortable with NSFAS. So I think as soon as NSFAS is fine, maybe in your first year, but maybe as soon as you get to second year, I think you need to try as much as you can that you apply for companies, for bursaries which are in your discipline, like maybe Glencore, those companies, because you get to meet mentors, you get to get experience while you're still studying. Then it becomes easier for you to relate with what you are studying with what is happening in real life. So that's why I actually encourage most of the engineers to try as much as they can to apply for bursaries. So for me, one thing that I've noticed that helped me a lot to on the vacation work. So I got to a point where actually the company that I'm working for, so during the interviews, they asked me a question. So, and apparently when I got here, they told me that question no one answered except myself. And that question, actually, I learned it, or maybe that part, I learned it during the vacation work.
Oh,
so I think it's one of the things that they put me on top. So yeah, I would say they are very important, man, these backwards.
And what was that question? Do you still remember?
Okay, so they asked me if actually it's more like a tank. So a tank, most of the time it's closed on top. Then they said for you to prevent that tank from bursting, or let's say maybe it gets full of air, or from bursting. I think in simple terms. So what is it that the measures that you need to take, or what is it that you need to install on that tank so that it can actually protect that tank from bursting. So the answer was pressure relief valve, or maybe a PSV, something like that. So yeah, so then I answered it. So just because of the vacation work.
Wow. So this work works, people shouldn't be going December there. They just want to go home and relax. They should, be
Yeah,
and
try
for
as
people
much as they can.
and for people who are going for works, like, what kind of advice can you give them? Should they get there and learn as much as possible? Because sometimes people will just be like, it's just a work. Maybe, I don't know. What advice can you give to people, especially as far as works are concerned? Students, I mean.
So most of the time when you get to a vacation work, so they give you a mentor, or they assign you a mentor. So for you actually to learn as much as you can, you need to ask questions. So there's no need for you to actually isolate yourself and just come there and sit and wait for 4 to go home. So actually that it don't work. So try as much as you can to be curious. So ask question. Your mentors, most of the time, they're in your discipline. They can't give you a mentor which is in another profession, or so try as much as you can to ask questions, and also to be there, man. Like if there's something happening, like don't let your mentor to tell you to say let's go that side, because most of the time you need to maybe go with your mentor. So try as much as you can, like to be active actually. Be active and curious. Then just a short story. So in my first back work in Q3 actually, so I was the only mentor. Okay, I was the only back work student. So it's more like a small company. It was my first vacation work. So I messed up, man. I messed up. I don't know why, because they gave me a project. So then actually they gave me my mentor. Then explained everything. Then I just pretended as if I understand the guy, because I was a bit scared and I'm just alone. I mean, like I spent 3 weeks that side, but there is nothing that I produced. I don't know a lie, man. I still, when I look back, I'm like, what was I doing? Because like I was scared, like to ask questions. So I was just going there every day, as if I'm doing the work. But man, I don't know a lie. I messed up. And I still like, when I look back, I'm like, hey, it's part of learning. But from that day, I was like, no, man, this thing, it's not gonna work for me. I need to get out of this maybe comfort zone, or maybe being an introvert. So it helped me a lot actually. So it was a lesson for me, because like they just paid me. I don't know a lie. I have spent 3 weeks. They just paid me, and they paid me a lot of money. I don't know why, but I literally like did nothing. So that's a secret that I never told anyone. Actually, I never told anyone about this, but I think it's the right time.
So you were literally on a vacation, man. You were actually on a vacation.
Yeah, imagine. I was actually on a vacation. I was actually on a vacation.
Because you were just getting paid, but you were not doing anything.
Imagine, man. So I was on a paid vacation.
And they didn't pick up, or this one up is not delivering. They didn't pick up.
I know, man, because the mentor as well, like he would, I think, come once a week. So then the other people, they're not more into chemical engineering. So the mentor come once a week, then he comes, then he's like, how's it going? Then I'm like, no, I'm pushing, man. I'm pushing. It's going well. Can't know, man. Like, there's a lot going on. Actually, I thought I understood this. Can't know, I didn't understand it. Then I realized it, I think, in the last week. That's where I realized it. Good to know. Actually, I messed up that one. It's one of those days, man. But for me, I appreciate that moment, because it helped me to actually start taking things serious. So
I think as you relate it like that way, because I guess those things can also sort of you can have a bad, what is the word? A bad report
image
or a bad image and stuff, and it can end up affecting
Exactly.
your future job prospects and
Exactly.
stuff, you know. I want us to talk about what you have studied, you know. What happened? You just woke up one day and be like, I want to go to Wits. I want to do chemical I want to do chemistry with chemical engineering. How did you choose this?